Hey everyone, welcome back to CJRaceCars YouTube channel. Today we are putting Eagle back together. It's going pretty good so far, and we're just going to keep pushing. The guys are doing a really good job. You have to be super careful when you put this stuff back together, and as it goes together, everything needs to be cleaned, and just takes a lot of time. It's probably 200, 300 hours of just putting this thing together and plumbing it, sticking the wiring in it. So we have a long 9 or 10 days ahead of us, but so far it's going really good.
Back around the car, so I can take that more picture.
Yeah, bring it back further than that, and then we can get the nose off here a little bit too. Okay.
All right, we got Eagle back, and Taylor and Danny are working on it right now. Troy is also working on the adjustable part of the driver's side window frame. Danny had to fit the rear window and 2 side windows because when we got the rear window, we got an oversized optic armor rear window for a steel roof and quarters Camaro, which this is. But to flush mount it how we do, super tight to the body, it was just a tiny bit too small in one corner. So they sent us an oversized window for a fiberglass body, which is even a little bit bigger, which gave us enough room to fit it how we wanted. So he just got that done. The 2 quarter windows are pretty much fit, and we're moving on. We'll start putting probably in some sheet metal here, and Danny will start putting his brake lines in. The brake lines that we put from the front to the back kind of need to go in before anything else. That way Danny can get in there without the floors and the seat and everything in the way and do that final bend that you have to do to the rear bulkhead. So we're chipping away at it, and it's coming along good. The car looks really good. It's hard to see in the light in here, but it has some pretty cool pearl in it that I think will look good. And with all the black accents they did and the black wheels, this thing's gonna look killer in a dark window. It's gonna set it off really good. So excited to see what it looks like on the ground. I think that's the best part is when you finally set it on the ground. Got it?
I gotta reach.
Look at that. Look at that. Would you just look at it, Josh?
Just look at it. Would you just look at it? Right here.
Who was that guy? That guy was hilarious. You remember those videos?
Some YouTube person.
Those, just look at it.
Would you just look at it? There you go. That's what I like to see.
Okay. Master cylinder is mounted. String through.
Josh is back there watching. There it is.
What?
You got it?
The wire?
Yep.
Okay. Pull it.
I'm rolling it to the center of the car.
Just pull it right up between the double frame rail and the funny car cage.
Okay.
And it's just going to go like this. It's just going to curl.
Okay.
You may have to kind of bend a little bit and then relax it, bend a little bit and relax it. I'm going to turn it
Push at the same time.
counterclockwise, and I got to go almost 180 degrees.
Okay.
That's working. Okay, that's good right there.
What do you do?
There it is. I had that all pre-bent. And when I had this, when I was making the lines up, I had this sitting there. And I took a piece of tubing and I bent it so it would go in there. And I knew that was okay. So then I just took the long piece of tubing and copied that bend. So when you put it in, you just shove it in there and that hooks up. Now back there, that's a different story. You have a little bit of play in this, not much. Almost got it. No, they almost got it. That is a multi-purpose tool right there. I use that for so much stuff, it ain't funny.
All right, it's day 2 of assembly on Eagle, and we got a lot going on in a lot of different areas, and you kind of have to do this stuff in order or else it'll kind of bite you. Everyone makes fun of me, but I usually always put the battery in first. I don't really know why, because we have to take it back out. But Danny got the firewall in. He's now running the brake line to the lamb control. He already ran the brake line to the back. The brake line to the back, as you guys have seen, you have to bend it after powder coat. You can't put it in because it got bends on both sides and it runs through the chassis. So he got that done. He's doing the one for lamb control in the front. Taylor, we had to cut the block saver so you can get the converter bolts. Did that this morning. DA'd the block saver, and he's installing the flex plate for the final time. Once that's installed, we'll put the tranny back on it. We'll clean everything. As we said, when we do assembly, before you put it together, we make sure everything's clean before it goes in. And as soon as we bolt that up final, that thing will all be going in one piece. And then that'll open up a lot of doors. We can start putting a lot of stuff together and keep cranking. Last night, Travis wasn't here. Actually, nobody was here except for me and Josh. But we got the tubs put in, finalized the sheet metal in the back. Some of the carbon in the center, you can see where it's got the notch for the blow-by hose to come by. We got the puke tank in. It is not tight yet because we'll probably have to loosen it up to finagle those lines on there. But it's coming together. So the back's pretty close. We got to do a few things with the rockers here today, and then we'll start putting the floor in, motor in. It's coming along good for only day 2. So we're going to just keep pushing, and hopefully when it's time to be done, it's done.
Come up a little bit. All right. You gotta come to the driver's side a little bit if you can.
Here, I can move the car.
Oh yeah, that's true.
How close are we to the motor plate bounce?
We're pretty close. Not that far away.
So what you might be able to do is when we get close, just figure out which side you want to go in first. That's what I just said. Can you twist it a little bit, go down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go just try to keep it, yeah, you're good there.
Okay.
Just try to,
Just come slow with it.
You want us to just try to slide the car forward?
well, I can move slow, just hold it sideways like that. You ready?
Yep.
The mid plate might get narrower toward the top too.
Yeah, I think it is.
All right, can I go back some?
Yep.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, there it goes. Yep, that's what it needed.
As you can see, we have the Hemi and Eagle, and we have a lot of other stuff in there. We got the rack in, we got the fuel tank in, fuel feed line in, oil primer and filter in, fuel pressure regulator in, training converters all in, converters full of fluid, getting a bunch of stuff in. You can see in the background too, Brian's working on this seat pour here. But we're getting a ton of stuff in. Danny's working on the pedals now. We put the column in last night. All the floor panels are in except for the carbon, which just zooses in and out. We leave those out so that we can basically climb in a car and work on stuff without having to step on tubes and be really careful. So those will just zoos in whenever. We're getting down to the very end. There is a few things we have to do with the headers. We have to add billet EGTs. They should be here today. Once we weld those up, the headers can go on. Raleigh's coming today to finish wet sanding and buffing the front end. And this thing's really starting to take shape. We got all the primer pump in, rack in, steering in, and really coming together. So we got about, I think Omar's coming here in 3 or 4 days to put the harness in and make sure we have everything. And then he's gonna come back 2 days later and finalize the wiring, and that's when we'll fire it up. So after that, we'll be trying to test the next day and then basically have to leave for Maryland really quickly after that. So everything looks good so far. Hopefully we have everything. When you get down to the end, if you don't have stuff and you start having overnight parts, that's when it kind of gets scary. I think we're good, and just gonna keep pushing forward. We're getting ready to put the rear end in Eagle. Taylor's finishing up putting it together. We got this house. A lot of people asked about the billet housing. And basically, long story short, we got some of the parts for the billet housing and we had issues getting the rest of the parts. So instead of chancing waiting for the parts to show up for that, we made the decision to order another rear end, and we got this rear end coming from Marty, and it was here the exact day he said it was gonna be here. So worked out awesome. Marty's stuff is killer. We use all his chassis brackets, and we've used a ton of his rear ends. This deal came out awesome. It's got a billet faceplate. He even did billet 4-link brackets, which I don't think he's done. We've never had one like this. I think this might be one of the first, rear ends he's done one with billet.
First one we've gotten for sure.
Yeah, with billet 4-link brackets. So this thing looks killer. He was able to do it to the exact width that we wanted. So we can run a 315 with a 4-inch backspace wheel and a 275 with a 3-inch backspace wheel, and it should fit the same, hopefully. We actually, because of the issue with the billet rear end, haven't had a rear end in a car at all with wheels. And I know it's kind of late in the game, but hopefully this works. So it should be fine.
It will till it don't.
It will work till it don't. But should be fine. We're probably gonna put this in today and make sure. The other thing we need to do, because we didn't have rear end before, is we need to get this rear end in and measure for a drive shaft, because we need to get a drive shaft ordered. I know PST will do whatever they can to help us out and get it to us quick, but that was something we weren't able to do before because we didn't have a housing, so we're doing it now. We got the rear end from Marty. Marty's rear ends utilize a strange floater spindle, and Marty will sell them to you with brakes and everything, so your turnkey operation. But we're gonna run TBM stuff on this, so we just got hubs, sent it to us with just a spindle. We had hubs that we put on, and TBM sent us some of their brakes. So we use TBM stuff on everything here unless it's a customer wants something else, but we run this on everything. It's gonna be on my Camaro. We got them for the S10, and this is about everything we can put them on. So I think that's about it. We're gonna finish putting this thing together, probably put the center section and everything in here.
Yeah, and then stand it up and maybe rotate it.
Danny's got to do a brake line.
Danny can do his brake line.
We got to do a brake line. So we do have to put, Danny's got to build his brake line over to the calipers, and probably don't want to do that underneath the car, especially for Danny. So we'll go ahead and do that. Hopefully get this in today. Brian is making a complete list of all the fittings to make sure we have fittings. We're going to overnight them so we have them here tomorrow, so that we have all weekend to put fittings and hoses together. And just, it's coming down to the final few days here, and we want to make sure we have everything we need to keep moving forward. We just got some more parts in for the headers we're waiting on. We can weld the billet EGTs on the headers, wherever those are at. And we're getting close, getting really, really close. And I think we're gonna be all right. I think we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
Taylor said we're gonna make it.
Till we don't.
So if we don't make it,
But
I'll send you guys an email address. I'll send you his email address, home address, and his personal cell phone number. If we don't make it, you give Taylor a call and let him know what you think about it.
And I will forward everything directly to Cameron. I'll put his number on Facebook.
I don't answer my phone anyways.
No, you
It's
don't.
all right. It's all right.
No, you don't.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. So, all right. I think that's about it. We'll let Taylor get back to it, and then we'll be putting this thing in pretty soon.
It's kind of a work as you go deal. There's a lot of ways you can do it. I may have an idea in my head what I want to do when I start it, and then as I go along I'll change it. Get one side done and pretty much you just got to duplicate the other side. The length will be different in here, but if I'm not mistaken, Yeah, it'll be a little bit different angles. But it's pretty much, it'll be just be a mirror image of it basically, except it fits the rear end one size longer than the other. My points figured out where I'm gonna, I mean, I know where I'm going from there to here. But when you want to make sure everything lines up good, I have these little short pieces of stuff that I use. And that tells me exactly where I got to make my bend in this direction here. I get this where it has to be, you line it all up, get it like you like it, and you just simply go back here and you put your mark in line with this. That way when you make your bend, it'll go right into where you want it to go. But before I make that mark, I'm going to tie this down where it's going to go. That way I get my mark exactly where I want it. Eyeball this so it's nice, it looks like it's nice and straight. We're going to have our flare, and our flare is going to go back to about there. So you get this where you want to go, and you can just kind of eyeball where you want that thing to go on the flare. So we make our cut, and we put our nut on it, put our sleeve on it, flare it. This side is complete. And there we go. And there's one brake line.
All right, so that's pretty much gonna do it for today's video. You can see we've got a ton of stuff assembled. We've got a ton of stuff assembled. They got all the carbon in the back. They got the fire lines in, all the fire bottles in, all CO2 stuff in, puke tank in, fuel cell, engine, tranny, converter, all that stuff's in. Brian's working on all the line stuff now. This thing's really coming together, being that this is only like day 3. And we're just gonna keep chipping away at it. And on the next video, probably see this thing on the ground, which is gonna be absolutely killer. I cannot wait to see this thing with the black wheels pushed all the way out to the outside. They're supposed to be sitting about 3.5 inches off the ground. It's gonna look absolutely mean. The roof's gonna be about this high. These cars look killer when they're real low, and getting close. So that's pretty much gonna do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of cool stuff coming, and we'll see you on the next one.